another episode of Beyond News. I'm Joki Mwangi, and for the next 30 minutes of live coverage, we take you beyond the headlines to uncover the truth behind the stories shaping the society and journeying across borders, climates, and institutions as we explore global and local forces impacting migration, the environment, and displaced communities.
Millions on the move. What is fueling this global migration crisis? Fires, floods, famine. The climate emergency is already here. Global unity or growing division. What is next for multilateralism? Urban sprawl or urban collapse. Can our cities survive the strain?
First, we look at international migration, a rising phenomenon with complex consequences. Many Kenyans travel abroad in search of better opportunities, but sometimes the price is too high, as seen in Margaret Nduta's case in Vietnam. Our correspondent Sylvia Kimani brings us more.
Across the globe, a human tide is rising, driven by forces of conflict, despair, and the yearning for a better future. Millions are leaving their homes, embarking on journeys fraught with peril and uncertainty. This mass exodus is more than just a movement of people. It is a reflection of our world's deepest challenges and a call to our shared humanity.
East Africa, I must thank the government because they have made the process quite seamless. For example, the first time I came in 2017, I had not processed my passport. I came with my national ID, and that was enough for me to cross the border and come into Kenya and even start studying with just my ID. I had left Uganda with the passport being processed. It came through much later, but the process was really smooth. What I think we can improve is at the border, there are these people who, if you do not know the process, they come to you as if they're helping you, but they're actually con men. And they try to get money from me. They actually did get some money from me. That's the only challenge I encountered. There's still a bit of corruption to be handled with the officers on both ends of the Ugandan side and the Kenyan side. But apart from that, the process was quite smooth for East Africans, which I am.
Join live from the ground, we have Sylvia Kimani. Sylvia, migration has become a defining feature of our global landscape. Based on what you have gathered, what are the key push and pull factors influencing migration today?
Migration today is driven by a combination of economic, social, political, and environmental factors. People are pushed out of their home countries due to conflict, lack of job opportunities, poverty, or even political instability. At the same time, they are pulled towards destinations that offer safety, better living conditions, or employment. What stands out is that while people search for better lives, they often face harsh legal systems, xenophobia, or labor exploitation in foreign countries, which makes international migration both a hope and a struggle.
There is a growing concern around undocumented migrants and their treatment abroad. How serious is this issue from your findings?
I'd say it's incredibly serious. Undocumented migrants often live in fear of deportation and exploitation. Many don't have access to healthcare, education, or even basic human rights, and because they are undocumented, they often work under-the-table jobs where they are underpaid or mistreated with no legal protection. Some governments are beginning to tighten immigration laws, which further marginalize these individuals, making their lives even more precarious.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. In studio, I have Meyan Sirima, a Foreign Affairs Policy Advisor. Welcome very much, sir. Please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Well, my name is Meyan Sirima. I'm Foreign Policy and Migration Specialist, currently on consultancy with about 2 years experience in foreign policy relations, and diplomacy with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Let's unpack this. What immediate steps has the Kenyan government taken to intervene in Margaret Nduta's case?
Well, with Margaret Nduta's case, that has gotten a lot of traffic lately. There have been a lot of issues with the Vietnam government, considering that they have very strict anti-drug policies. And with that, it explains why for them directly with 2 kgs of cocaine caught in her bag directly led to a death sentence through lethal injection. However, because of some irregularities during the trial, for example, Nduta not having any consular representatives, the case later on through the government of Kenya was appealed. Kenya was able to send a consul of experienced diplomats and lawyers who are very conversant with international law. Case has been appealed and is now awaiting trial again with a team of Kenyan counsel to represent Margaret Nduta.
And how does the embassy ensure Kenyans facing legal trouble abroad receive a fair trial?
Well, for that, it gets a bit more complicated. For each and every state where Kenyans have migrated to for labor, you'll find that each and every state that they have a relationship with has a different policy that's been put and implemented in place, and different protection services. I can give an example of spaces such as Germany, where they have worked with the private sector to better help incorporate a lot of labor migration for, especially female labor migration, for different workspaces in Germany, and of course, housework as well. While in spaces like Qatar, they've worked with the government directly to bring in labor. While in spaces with states such as Qatar, they've worked with the government directly without including the private sector to bring in labor workers who can help with their factories and industries and so on. So different states normally integrate different policies and different places, people to work with to better help integrate people into labor. At the same time, protection of these labor migrants is normally enforced with diplomatic relationships between the states, and that's why our Ministry of Foreign Affairs recently added the diaspora affairs to better cater to these people's interests and protection.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate so much of your time. From migration to the climate, Kenya has witnessed strange weather patterns lately. What does this mean for our environment and, more importantly, our farmers? Our reporter has more.
Our planet is in distress. The alarm bells are deafening, rising temperatures, raging storms, and vanishing landscapes. This is no longer a distant threat, it's a present reality. The choices we make today will determine the fate of tomorrow. The time for action is not on the horizon, it is now.
Kwa majina ni Margaret Waboy. I'm a small scale farmer, mkulima wa nyanya, bebe, saa zingine gojet, skuma, spinach, hizo vitu. Puni ziko mingi sana. Kuna zingine zinatengeneza substandard. Ukifurisha, unaona bado inakuwa affected.
As temperature rise and weather patterns become more unpredictable, climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is a lived reality for millions. From failed crops to rising sea levels, the effects of climate change are already disrupting lives, especially in vulnerable communities that contribute the least to the problem. Reporting from Nairobi, I'm Lincoln Mugumini.
Joining me in studio today, I have Kevin Wairua, an environmental scientist. Kevin, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay, so I'm Kevin Wairua. I work as an associate manager at an organization called Pula Advisors, which is an insurtech that deals or designs innovative insurance products, mainly to deal with climate change and to protect smallholder farmers. I work mainly in the insurance product development team, where we lead the initiatives in terms of developing and designing new products for new markets and any products that might not exist within the particular markets we are working in.
On to the first. Kenya has experienced unusual rainfall in January. What does this indicate?
Okay, so one thing to note is, of course, climate change is here. And these are things that are being experienced all over the world. I think traditionally for Kenya, the long rains used to be from March to May, and then the short rains from October to December. So there is a shift in terms of the weather events and the climatic patterns, where you find that, for example, the rainfalls that happened in January were unexpected. You find that even February was very hot. Those like the heat or the temperature was really high. So in such a case, like this is something that is actually happening, and it also has a very direct impact in terms of other systems that might be dependent on it. So for example, if farmers need to plant, if the rains are coming later than when they were used to, then it also even affects planning. It affects how the seasons will look like and such. So yeah, I think that's what is happening, and that's one of the impacts that climate change is having.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for coming in studio today and giving us insights about climate change. You are watching Beyond News, and we have unpacked key conversations around international migration and climate change. Coming up next, we explore how global cooperation through multilateral institutions is evolving, and later we shine a light on displaced population and human settlement changes. Keep it here. We'll be back shortly after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Introducing the new Den Dairy Blueberry Flavored Yogurt, filled with blueberries for that extra crunch. Now in a new portable and securely sealed cup, with an improved design that fits perfectly into your lifestyle. Enjoy the thick, creamy, smooth, and crunchy Den Dairy Yogurt, made the traditional way using 100% farm fresh milk. Make every day a Den Dairy day. Den Dairy, filled with goodness.
Welcome back. And from environmental challenges to international cooperation, are global institutions still relevant in maintaining peace and stability? Our reporter has more.
In an interconnected world, the strength of nations lies in unity, but the ties that bind us are fraying. As old alliances falter and new divisions emerge, the question looms, can multilateralism rise to meet the challenges of our time, or are we witnessing the dawn of a more fragmented future? The answer will shape the course of global cooperation for decades to come.
Je serai très bref sur la situation au Soudan. Et si jamais le Conseil a besoin de plus.
There are very many transnational issues that are emerging, such as terrorism, climate change, migration, and very many other challenges, which actually require a transnational solution. So I'll say it is relevant because it is a forum for building consensus. Multilateralism is very good in ensuring that each and every person's views and perspectives are actually put on the table, and it brings that inclusivity in decision making, but also in problem solving.
Global challenges grow more complex, from pandemics to wars and economic inequalities. No country can face them alone. But for multilateralism to thrive, trust, dialogue, and equal representation must be at core. Reporting from Nairobi, I'm Madeleine Albright.
Joining me is Dr. Peter Morris, an expert in international relations. Sir, could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Dr. Peter Morris, a lecturer in Desa University, teaching in the School of Arts and Social Sciences.
Daktari, are multilateral organizations still effective in global governance?
Okay, it does play a very crucial role because, for example, states are able to agree on issues of mutual interest. For example, countries can decide to abrogate matters to do with visas for their citizens. And so this promotes free movement of people, and that means people can do trade, people can exchange cultures. So it does play a very key role in the development of African states.
And does multilateralism serve Africans' interest or perpetuate neocolonialism?
Kenya has played a very significant role. For example, we know that it is a key player in the AU, but also we know it is also a key driver in the EAC Pact. And so I would say that Kenya is by and large involved in the formation, in the running of these treaties. For Raila Odinga to plan to participate in these contests places Kenya highly, because we are saying to the other African states that we have something to offer. We have human resource in the name of Raila Amolo Odinga. Is bringing expertise which has been nourished in Kenya. And so we are saying that we are ready to produce a person who is equal to the task. And so throughout the campaign period and everything that was going around, this shows that Kenya is into serious business. Kenya is a key player into the African Union matters. And Kenya is willing to contribute something into the African Union, African matters. I think this places Kenya at a higher pedestal compared to other nations. Kenya is confident enough to face Africa and say, this is what we have to offer. So it was, for me, in my own opinion, it was something notable, something positive, but also in the process of Kenya running for that seat in the name of Raila Amolo Odinga, we also saw some issues cropping up. For example, the comments after the elections, when some states say that they didn't want to get into the political affairs of Kenya through the involvement of Raila Amolo Odinga. So that also sort of exposed us, because you remember a majority of social media users, especially on X, they campaigned against Raila Amolo Odinga. And so that sort of exposed the nation and the fragmentation on matters to do with politics and all the, of course, matters to do with the time. You can't beat time. And Africa is now running with a very young population. People who have very different and diverse opinion and ideas. And you can even see it across the leadership we have in Africa. For example, in Burkina Faso, we have the youngest president in the entire world. So I don't think it stands a chance to beat any other candidate, especially if they're younger than him. And I don't think the ideas he has, no matter how plausible, are going to move the kind of population we have, the context, the space we have. So, in my own opinion, I don't think it stands a big chance of being supported or anything like that. I think it's better for him if he were to continue to be just a mentor or an advisor to these leaders. I would say this is a split opinion. I would say that the ability of Kenya to go to Somalia and try to bring some calmness, try to bring some sort of peace, has placed us highly, in the sense that we sacrificed to have another nation live in peace, kind of. Our soldiers have given their lives for this cause. We actually led other East African countries. We led them. And now we have boots on the ground from Egypt. That means they've seen that we are in for a good cause, right? So I think that places Kenya highly. But also, I also say that in the Somalia issue, remember we have a case with Somalia, a maritime border issue. And in some sort that has not played out well. and the general opinion of the normal Somali person in Mogadishu, I don't think it will be of goodwill towards Kenya when they see Kenyans boots on the ground, especially because they have different opinions regarding why Kenya is there and AMISOM is there. But by and large, I think our entrance into Somalia, Kenya's entrance into Somalia, put us on a higher pedestal.
Okay.
Because we are also providing a model. We are giving providing a model, an example about how we care about Africa and other Africans, and that we are a displayed force. We need peace all across, and the peace of Somalia will promote the prosperity of this nation because we share a border.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for coming in studio today and sharing your insights on multilateralism. Finally, we turn to the displaced refugees and IDPs caught in the middle of conflict and instability. What does human settlement look like when home is no longer safe? Our reporter has more.
Forced from their homes by conflict and crisis, millions of refugees and internally displaced people now seek shelter in overcrowded camps and fragile settlements. These aren't just temporary spaces, they've become long-term realities. As cities struggle to absorb the displaced, the question remains, can we build a future that includes everyone?
Today we are going to Isle for the settlement. There are many people, so many.
Urbanization is transforming the way we live, but it's also exposing deep inequalities in housing, land rights, and infrastructure. Reporting from Nairobi, my name is John Munene.
Joining me in studio is Beth Muthe, an urban development expert. What are the main challenges in providing sustainable housing for IDPs?
Houses, like now there is, the housing may be made of stones and iron sheets, okay? But remember, I've talked about the higher temperatures in these areas, okay, which really affect their housing. Okay, a place like Turkana West, where we have the Kakuma refugee camp and Kalobei, it is easy to recognize that they are living in makeshift houses. Okay, and these housings are not standard. So it is the responsibility of the international community, the UNHCR, and the host government to make sure at least these people are able to get adequate housing. But now the challenge here is the issue of funds. Okay, so if there are no funds, it becomes very difficult to pursue some human rights like the right for shelter or the right for housing, because most of them are just deplorable.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate so much of your time. That wraps up this edition of Beyond News. Thank you so much for joining us as we uncover the stories that matter the most. Let's continue the conversation online following the hashtag Beyond News, and remember to tag us at Grace Mercy so that we can continue conversing about these issues. Until next time, I'm Joki Mwangi. Stay informed and stay empowered.
Introducing the new Den Dairy Blueberry Flavored Yogurt filled with blueberries for that extra crunch. Now in a new portable and securely sealed cup with an improved design that fits perfectly into your lifestyle. Enjoy the thick, creamy, smooth, and crunchy Den Dairy Yogurt made the traditional way using 100% farm fresh milk. Make every day a Den Dairy day. Den Dairy, filled with goodness.